Good evening, Valerie here. Hi. An unusually late post. Don't usually come on live this late, but I was a little curious just to see what it's like to actually do a slightly later live. Had a rather unusual evening, went for a really long walk and jumped onto the phone with a couple of friends. It's really nice to actually just have a phone call. It's with no video, just an audio. And thought I would come on live and share with you my thoughts about meadows and weeds. Meadows and weeds. Are you somebody who does the gardening? These days, where I live in Sydney, the gardens are very small. There's not a lot of gardening that happens at our home. It's a really small patch of grass in the front and the back, and even then we struggle to really take care of it. But there are a lot of weeds. It doesn't matter how small your grass or your garden is, there just seems to be a lot of weeds, and lately spiders. We have massive spiders in our garden. And we are all scared of them. We hoped that our cavoodle, the dog, would be helpful in this situation, but he is not. He too does not like spiders. So weeds just seem to tumble out of the garden, no matter how big or how small it is. On the other hand, meadows. When was the last time you actually had a walk in a meadow or in a field? It's really quite rare. And meadows, on the other hand, are vast. And I'm pretty sure there are weeds in meadows, but you don't seem to see them. Where am I going with this? Well, today I was actually thinking about how so much of what I see, it's just like being in a small patch of grass with lots and lots of weeds. The smaller the patch of grass, there just seem to be more evident that there's a lot of things wrong. And that's usually because the vision or the things that I'm being presented with are really minor and small, and the world is shrinking upon me. So as an example, I can get really bogged down in Excel spreadsheets. In fact, that's probably the worst thing for me to do, is to open up an Excel spreadsheet when I'm already not feeling really great, because I will go down to the minuscule detail with Excel spreadsheets, and before you know it, I'm shooting a lot of emails to the office. Let me know who you are, by the way. Facebook isn't telling me who you are. I just see eyes watching the video, and I would be more than happy to have a chat with you and find out how you do your life in your world as well. So yes, so Excel spreadsheets really shrink me down. Family budgets shrink me down as well. If I have to look at the family budget long enough, I will obsess about a lot of things, and before you know it, I'm cutting a lot of things from the family's life. Things that, it's ridiculous. Like, okay, an $11 that, like, it's really not going to solve the problem. I can also really, the world can really also shrink down when I'm very concerned about the people in my life, particularly if I feel very responsible. And so you might have caught my blog from below, where I was talking about feeling quite anxious and feeling an over sense of responsibility. And before you know it, all you can see is not just the grass, not just the garden, but really just weeds. Your world is just full of weeds, and you are now reduced to someone who is trying to pull out weeds from even the thing about weeds, I'm not quite sure whether I do it correctly, but I only head for the big ones because they seem to be easier to pull, whereas the really shallow ones, they just seem to break off. Maybe I'm meant to dig them up. That's what life can become too, is that you start to really then look at really small things that probably would be better off for you to just let it be. Just don't do anything. It'll probably resolve itself. On the other hand, last night, listening to the playlist that I have now to go to sleep. You can find me on Spotify, vling09. I've got a couple of public playlists there, and one of them is my relaxation soundtrack. And I was listening to the music, and it really just felt like Meadows before me, right? There was nothing to pick apart. There was nothing I needed to fix. There was nothing that I really had to think about too deeply, other than just listen to some really beautiful music. And it just felt like Meadows. And as I was listening to the music, I realized that this is a really simple mind trick that we could do, is if we actually just said to ourselves, stop looking at the weeds. Actually look up, what are the things that have worked well today? What are the friendships that we're so grateful for? What are the conveniences that have really worked for us today? And even bigger than that, what are the stories that are captivating us at the moment? And here's the thing, if it's really difficult for us to answer those questions, as in, what stories are captivating us? What music are we listening to? Which friends are we talking to? What books are we reading? What's the latest creative pursuit we have? What's catching our curiosity? If it's hard for us to answer those questions, it probably means that you've been stooping down, looking at weeds far longer than you need to be, because there are some elements of your world that have really, really shrunk, and there are no more meadows for you to be frolicking in. So I would really hope that you get the chance to discover what those vast expanses are. What is that? Where are they? How can you put them into your world? And hopefully that will help you to get out from being stuck in the weeds. Good night.